What's up, geeks and gamers? My name is Drementfh and welcome to Thorium Gaming. So, I've been working on what we were going to do for our Tuesdays, and, well, kind of settled on War Machine Tactics. It's a tabletop game released by Privateer Press that they made a digital version of. I'm a fan of the tabletop game. It's a lot of fun. It involves massive, semi-autonomous steam jacks and warjacks. They're the big robots you can see in the background as they play through. There's a nice little story involved, and it's really awesome. It's based on coal and steam power. It's steampunk awesomeness just all over the place. So we're going to go in, and there are actually two campaigns in here. So we're going to start with No Man's Land and the main character of that, and then Dark Seduction we'll go through after that. It's not exactly the most intensive game in the world, but it is a lot of fun, especially if you're a fan of the tabletop game. So let's jump into No Man's Land.
This tribunal has convened in accordance with Signarin military law to assist the ongoing inquest into the unknown whereabouts of Commander Dalen Sturges, during and following operations in the southern Thornwood region, conducted the 3rd and 4th week of Ashtovin this past year. Lieutenant Journeyman Allisson Jakes, you have confirmed under solemn oath to His Majesty, King Leto Railthorn, that you were the last person alive to have contact with Commander Sturges. Before we proceed, please state for the record your relationship with the Commander.
He is my commanding officer, and he has been my mentor for the past 13 months since I completed my journeyman Warcaster training at the Strategic Academy in Caspia.
And can you render for the tribunal the nature of the Commander's disappearance?
Commander Sturges is dead, Your Honor.
Despite great effort, Lieutenant Jakes, the body of Commander Sturges has not been recovered. How can you be certain of his death?
I killed him.
That's one way to start it off.
It was all very straightforward. The Khadorans had advanced their front nearly all the way to the Dragon's Tongue, but they were spread thin. We would break their line and retake Fisherbrook, then move the 29th Brigade into the Thornwood, 1 battalion at a time by rail. There we would regroup with the 7th Infantry and mount an offensive to push the Khadorans north out of the forest. Commander Sturges had sent me to Hartford's Ferry to relay his order that the rest of the 1st Battalion move up in preparation to deploy. It was a day's travel there and back, so I left my charger at our forward camp in order to make the trip faster. I don't know why the commander sent me instead of a runner. I should have guessed it was a test. It was always a test. Only this one I had failed before it began.
Let's not do the guided tutorial.
Sergeant, report!
Wounded Reds came out of nowhere, Lieutenant. No warning. Scattered our line and cut us off from the command squad.
Damn it! Where are you, bandit?
Reds, left flank!
Alright, so Allisson Jakes here is a Warcaster. She is a special type of individual who is able to use basically telekinesis of a sort, telepathy, to control the giant warjacks. So let's get her to move over. Now most of these units have a fair amount of different weapons. In the case of Jake, she's got her 2 melee blades, and she also has a pistol. Now just like in the tabletop game, you can boost the chance to hit, which also boosts the chance to crit, or you can boost the damage. This is done on the focus value of your Warcaster or the amount of focus assigned to certain things. This is all high-level Warcaster stuff, but we're going to boost the chance to hit and the damage. Let's see if we can kill that guy. Apparently we can't. And that's pretty much it for her turn. I'm not going to show that again. She's done her actions for the turn, and that's pretty much all we can do because we're just controlling Allisson. Khadoran is based off of the Russians. Not a huge surprise there. Signars, a lot of rifles and trenchers, that sort of stuff. And we're not going to move this time, so we get 2 attacks. The Iron Fang pikemen, they're wearing heavy armor and have a lot of steam, but we want to actually hit this Winter Guard.
Overloading our position, ma'am. Recommend we fall back till the commander arrives.
You call yourself a gravedigger?
Ma'am.
Well, who are you planning on putting in those graves, Sergeant? Ours or theirs?
Understood, ma'am.
So gravediggers are a special kind of infantry. They're basically the Marines of everything. Now we could use another Mechanica blade instead of a parrying dagger, but that will cost us focus. So instead, we're just going to wait until we can actually use our focus to continue attacking this Iron Fang pikeman. I think we have a few more focus left. And that's it, but we're going to face him and then end our turn. Essentially, focus allows you to do additional attacks and actions while everything's going on. And it also allows you to cast spells. Now I'm wondering, can we move up behind this Iron Fang pikeman? Because if we move out of melee range of him, he'll be able to attack us pretty easily. So let's use our Mechanica blade, which apparently can't hit. It's been all our parrying dagger. There we go. Pikeman's down. That's pretty much all Jakes can do this turn. But since she killed someone, she gets an out-of-turn activation. So we're going to run her up into some cover so we can keep her out of the line of fire.
Your charger, ma'am? Stuck in the fuss, I'm afraid.
You left him?
All due respect, ma'am. That warjack ain't nothing but a pile of scrap iron when you're not here.
Sturges is going to kill me.
What's that, ma'am?
Everyone form up on me now!
Alright, the Trencher Infantry and Sarge have been added to our squad. So we'll have the Sergeant and a regular Trencher Infantry. If we end our turn, this guy is definitely hurting our Charger. Now the yellow box signifies our command range. We can't control anything outside of it, so we're just going to run Jakes over. And now can our Sergeant actually hit anything from here? Does not appear so. So let's move him. I want him close to the Charger, but I don't want him completely blocking our Charger. His facing's fine. But let's take a pot shot at the Winter Guard. There we go. Sometimes there's a few small delays within the game. It doesn't really work out that well, but it's still great. That's everything for our turn. And I think we have to get right up close to Bandit to reactivate him. I don't know if it's under abilities or what. we go, that's a little bit easier. So let's just take another pot shot with our trencher. And jump the Sarge back into cover. Now, how do we activate our charger? There we go.
Don't think you're sitting this one out. Not a word to Sturges about this. Not so much as a whistle. Let's make the commander proud!
Alright, so she has activated her charger now, which is a lot more mobile and can actually only do things while under the control of a Warcaster. She hasn't moved yet this turn, but since I've taken a little bit of damage on Jakes, if we use her other special ability to heal herself, only costs 1 focus, restores her power frame. Let's get our other trencher back into some cover. Make sure he's facing the right way. And we'll move the charger down close to Allisson. And there we go, we've got some Khadoran infantry coming in from our left flank. Alright, so now that we have a Warjack under our control, we can actually assign it some of our focus. We're actually going to give it 3 of the focus, because this allows it to do a bunch of special little abilities. If we start off with it, I'll run Bandit over, which sounded weird. So one of the cool things about the Charger Warjack, he has a dual cannon. So if you boost the hit, it automatically boosts the damage. Any attack he does. Now for a second focus, he can take a second shot. And if we boost it, which costs another focus, which boosts both damage and hit, we can just eliminate those 2 Winter Guard easily enough. Now, there's one more Iron Fang pikeman over there. They're a little dangerous to Warjacks. It's pretty much one of Khador's answers to the whole question of what to do with light Warjacks, because Khador doesn't get light Warjacks. Of course, since we moved Bandit up, we want to keep Allisson close by. We can just end our turn and wait for him to come over. Again, we're going to pump Bandit up. The Iron Fang's out of cover. Let's let our Warjack do most of the work here. And he missed on a 90% shot. Bandit, what are you doing? Might have to get your head examined. Now we could do a charge attack, but Iron Fang pikemen are pretty solid in close combat. So instead, let's just run Allisson up. Get her to take another shot too. Let's boost the hit chance with our last focus.
Look, I came back like I said I would. Everything worked out just fine.
Man of war!
So these are the real answer for light Warjacks from Khador. They're basically giant steam suits that there's a guy inside there, and there's a very high chance that they will cook their operators.
Sturges, I didn't expect you here.
Lieutenant Jakes, what quality makes a Warcaster more effective than every other soldier on the battlefield?
Warjacks, sir. The ability to mentally control and augment the power of Warjacks.
Well then, when did you decide you didn't want to be a Warcaster anymore?
It won't happen again, sir.
Alright, so that's that. Not a bad mission. Probably could have done better. The points values are used for when you're playing multiplayer battles or matches or anything. Just a bunch of different races in the game. We'll be seeing a few of them as we go along. Alright, so Matt's melee attack makes it easier for her to hit people in close combat.
She's a grand city, Corvus. Not as majestic as Caspia, or as metropolitan as Cyril, but perhaps more admirable than either given the threats that surround her.
From here, you'd never know Corvus had a care in the world.
And yet, with the war so close, her people meet each day with fear and uncertainty.
Why don't they leave? Why not flee to Caspia?
Why don't you?
I chose to fight.
Indeed. Signarans don't give up their homes without a fight. That is who we are. But to those people in that city, on their knees before Moro every night to pray for another sunrise, what you are is far more important. 1 in a million can do what you can do, can aspire to what you can become. Never forget what you are, Allisson. When you tremble inside, when your training fails you, remember that you are above all other things, a Warcaster.
Technically, my mentorship had come to an end. This was my first combat deployment as a journeyman Warcaster, and I was eager to get into the fight. But more than anything, I wanted to live up to Commander Sturges' expectations. The Khadorans had captured Fisherbrook, a small river town with a logging railroad that ran between the Thornwood coal mines and the Dragon's Tongue. The train was an essential part of the commander's deployment strategy, so the first order of business was to take back the town. Commander, we seem to have forgotten something, like our army?
An all-out siege will cost lives we can't spare. You and I will breach those walls with a surgical strike, then you can move the battalion up safely.
By surgical, you mean...
You keep the Reds off me while I get those main gates open.
Sir, there must be dozens of them.
You're right. Hardly a fair fight. All they have are guns and spears, while we've got warjacks and magic.
Alright, so that's not some impressive odds right there. Commit a lot of our focus to bandits. So now, the red area that you see around is the area that he can run in. We don't necessarily want to run. I'm not sure if it ends his activation or not, or if he can use the extra focus we just put on him. Either way, we want Bandit to be up front and center. And yeah, it pretty much ends his activation, so that's a fairly good thing to remember. We're going to keep Allisson right behind her Warjack. Keep him in command range. That's all we're going to do for the first turn on this one. You can see the difference in size between a light and a heavy.
Don't let them exit that bunker!
There are so many!
Improvise!
Improvise with what? There's nothing here but a bunch of wrecks and oil drums and... Oh!
Alright, so if we jump up to there and blow up the barrels, we won't have as many reinforcements coming at us. That'll be probably the better way to do things. This time we can drop a bunch of focus into Bandit. Make sure he's not out of the line so much. Should be able to get a couple of decent shots from right here. And just straight up execute a Winter Guard. Missed the other one, but that's okay. And then Allisson, since there's going to be enemies coming out anyway, as long as we keep Bandit within your command range. We'll face you towards the enemy so there's no issues. Now the reason why we want to keep Bandit and her close enough together, you can't assign focus to a Warjack if it's out of your Warcaster's command range. So again, we're gonna upgun our Warjack buddy here. I want to face him that way. Facing does matter. It'll become more apparent later on. First, let's hit that Winter Guard. Miss that Winter Guard. Seems like he's hit and miss on pretty much everything. It's going to leave him pretty much out of our control range. I think right there is the best bet we've got for keeping Bandit in. He's basically going to do all the heavy lifting for us. I got to remember to finish our turn off. There's an Iron Fang Pikeman. And we are just in control range. So this time, I think first, we're just going to pop Allisson up here. She should be able to see those barrels.
Quickly!
Sir, I might need to borrow some more bullets, or maybe say a chain gun?
Too much chatter, Lieutenant! Move it!
Yes, sir.
But, for the most part, we're going to try and let Sturges and his heavy jack kind of take some of the brunt of the fire while we're doing all this side stuff. Now, can you actually see the Iron Fang? No, you can't. And Bandit, you are being such a disappointment this time. Now you've seen a bunch of really big numbers come up from the Warjacks. That's kind of what the game is designed around, both the tabletop and the strategy game. Warjacks are the end-all be-all.
Iron Fangs, stay clear of their blasting pipes or they'll take you off your feet.
Really don't think bringing along a few trenches would have been helpful.
Concentrate, Jakes. Don't forget your magic.
And we do indeed have magic.
Off! The gates are almost open!
Oh, sure, take your time. I can do this all day. Next time, though, let's bring along a little more firepower.
Alright, so that's Allisson's activation. Oops. And where our charger is right now is not necessarily a good thing. We're going to drop into melee combat with this Iron Fang though, because it's right up on our friend. So power attacks, charge attacks, they are all very specific. Now we can't boost both of the attack and the damage on this one because it's not his double gun. But we can make it so that our light Warjack completely crushes him. thought we dealt with the barracks at this point, but apparently not. So we're only going to give 2 charges over to Bandit this time. We'll go to Allisson. What does she actually have for magic? Energizer? Ah, so her magic allows your warjacks to essentially move up. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to get her to fall back towards our warjack. Draw those Iron Fangs in. Now we have a power attack. We can push, we can slam, or we can headbutt. Each one of them costs the focus to use. They're more effective against enemy warjacks. We're just going to go with a massive hammer strike and finish off that Winter Guard. And then hopefully Sturges will do something to help us out. They seem to be focusing on Sturges and his warjack more than us, which is at once a good thing and a very bad thing. Alright, so this time we're gonna overamp our buddy Bandit. Then with Allisson, we don't actually have the range to do a charge attack right now, which I kind of wanted to do. So instead, we're just gonna run up and go to town with our blades. Alright, Bandit. You should be able to finish that guy off. If you can hit him. There's a little bit of a weird graphics glitch. Essentially the way it works out is your warjacks get to use one of each of their melee or ranged weapons a turn without having to spend focus. Alright, Allisson, do you actually have... You don't have the ability to do a charge attack right now. So we'll just run you down here, and we'll take a shot at that Iron Fang. See if we can help Sturges out a little bit. Apparently you're not a very good gunner. Come on, Bandit. Smoke the guy. There we go. So we leave his warjack to deal with the other guys on the other side. Depending on whether or not Sturges takes care of these guys. And his weapon has an arcing ability, so that every time he damages an enemy that in melee, an adjacent enemy takes some damage too. So the only thing we got left is a couple of Winter Guard, and we should be able to move on the gate proper. Looks like 3 of them. So we're going to run Allisson up. I was hoping to get in and help Sturges out, but apparently the dude didn't need it. Then we're going to run up our Charger. Let Bandit to go back to essentially what he is, which is a gun platform. But apparently he doesn't want to perform his role today. That's fine. Get you even closer, Bandit, and give you some more targets to deal with. I do want you facing that way, though, so no one can sneak up on your rear armor. There we go. Now he finally starts looking like a ranged demolisher that he is. And Allisson actually hit something with her pistol, which is different. I'm wondering why that ironclad is just kind of sitting there. Again, we're going to boost Bandit up. Run the heavy bastard forward. Chargers are a very, very effective... Okay, we just gotta move Allisson to the gate. They're an effective light jack in the tabletop game, even though I don't play Signar. Which is okay, I guess. Not many Warcasters that I like for Signar itself. I actually tend to play either Mercenaries or the Retribution of Syra, which are a couple of the other factions. They all play similarly.
Reinforcements, just in the nick of time. Well, not quite, but better late than never, I suppose.
Lieutenant Jakes,
Commander,
your performance today.
too much talking, sir. I'm sorry. It won't happen again.
Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Alright, so there we go. Seven Winter Guards, 7 Iron Fang Pikemen. Considering what we had to go in there with, it's not bad. And Allisson gained some focus, so she gets an extra focus point, meaning we can spend that a little bit more liberally in battle.
Fisherbrook was still crawling with Khadorans, and there wasn't time to root them all out. Commander Sturges sent me ahead with a squad to secure a safe route to the train station, while he set up defenses to cover the battalion's advance from the attack outside the town. But something was bothering him. He warned me that fighting inside the town would be tighter, closer quarters. He was concerned I was too dependent on my training and didn't have enough experience in urban combat.
You must adapt to every situation, Jakes. Use every element of your environment to your advantage. Your greatest weapon can be the battlefield itself.
Yes, sir.
I'll meet you at the train station.
Stay alert, gravediggers. Check every house, every corner.
Alright, so we have a Lancer now too. They've got a very potent shock shield, stun lance, but that little thing on top is called an arc node. We can cast spells through them. So we'll give each one of them 2 focus, leave 1 on Allisson. It actually increases her defense for having more focus, but we also want our Warjacks to be able to do their thing. So let's just take a quick look at what we're dealing with here. Looks like we have to push down this alley to the side. Not seeing anything too major. Just a bunch of Iron Fang pikemen and Winter Guard. I don't even see any Winter Guard Grenadiers or anything like that. So, let's see if we can push through. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring up this trencher to right here. I'm going to face this way. Now there should be a special attack option in here to do a combined ranged attack. This only applies to infantry. And if we go in and we queue up another ranged attack, I'm hoping I didn't screw that up. I'll send this trencher over here. Now that we've got 3 of them queued up, each guy that adds into a ranged attack ups its chance to hit and the damage of it. No, it didn't really seem like that much, but they usually only do 1 to 2 damage per shot. So, having a combined ranged attack on top of that actually really helps. We're going to do the same thing over on this side too. Drop our trenchers together. With 2 guys, it was 6 damage. Alright, buddy boy, let's get you to jump up. I should get you to face this way. You should still be able to shoot that guy on your left. Open anyway. There we go. So there's a winter guard down. You missed on the second one, but you didn't have the focus to do much else with it. We do have charge attacks available to us. Pretty solid hit. Can't use our shock shield, but we can strike with the lance again. Finish that winter guard off. Grab Allisson, and she should be able to finish this guy off with this simple ranged attack. I'm hoping anyway. That takes care of all the Khadorans up front. Again, we're going to toss 2 focus to each one of our jacks. Then we're going to worry about getting our infantry up here so they can catch up. Your infantry is far more effective when they stick in a group and move and fire together. Infantry is very, very, very weak, all things considered. But we don't want to rush headlong into this fight. I'd rather keep the warjacks in a position where they can do some real damage as opposed to anything else. Since the next 2 winter guard are down on that edge, we'll just run bandit over here. Oh, look at that. More winter guard. Well, okay then. So we've got extra enemies to deal with. However, with a lancer in our group, that won't be too bad. Keep Allisson in the mix. Do want her to face this way, though. Alright, so let's let our lancer kick this round off. 4 damage with the spear. And a massive critical with the shock shield. That definitely does not hurt. And bandit, we're going to get you to go in and, if not morally, but physically support those trenchers. Unfortunately, you are not superb at it. But that takes care of the other winter guard too. So apparently we have to watch out for ambushes. But we've got the gravediggers with us, the tried, tested, and true Signarian infantry, the trenchers. So I don't think it'll be too bad. Just try and keep these guys, generally speaking, all in the relatively same area. Because combined melee attacks are combined ranged attacks for the trenchers. There's other units that get combined melee attacks. They're a lot more effective than just standardized ones. Now, the big thing too is if we lose Jakes, and if you're playing the regular tabletop or anything and you lose your Warcaster, it's game over. Your Warcaster is everything. So you don't want to lose the Warcaster at all. Alright, bandit, pop forward and let's see what you can do to deal with these Khadorans. Taking out 1 is not a bad thing. I think we're just going to move our lancer up to kind of provide blocking cover on that side. Let's see if we can stack up a full combined ranged attack with this guy. So we'll queue him up for the combined range. sure that this guy is facing the correct direction. Queue him up as well. Guessing that's all the guys that can get involved in that one. Unless I'm missing something. There we go.
On your orders.
Alright. Oh, we executed the attack and we executed the Khadoran. And we definitely want you facing that way. We can keep our army group more or less together. That'd be a bonus. Now we're actually going to use a spell this turn. Going to use Energizer. Boost forward our Jakes a little bit. That should be everyone. Oh, she can also move with Energizer. So get her in beside Bandit. So we're going to be turning the corner here in a minute. We got 2 more Winter Guard, 4 more Winter Guard. I don't see any bombs or anything on them. So that was a little weird. There we go. Okay, so apparently we can move Allisson, but it's not one to let us move our Jakes right off the bat. Which is fine. The game's a little bit buggy in places. Is there something in front of him? Ah, yes, there's a tank trap in front of him. That's why it's not letting us move him. So let's move our Lancer up. Get him to turn to face those new Khadoran threats. Let's run our trenchers over. Get them out of the way, Bandit. And if we can get Bandit over here to give us a nice, clean line of fire, on his next turn he'll be able to knock down at least one of those Khadorans. I have these 2 trenchers run up behind him, using him both as cover and watching his back. So the cortex inside of most of the Warjacks, they're not intelligent per se, but they do get some aspects of personality. So over time, and especially when they spend more time with the same commanding officer, the Warjacks will pick up personality traits. From what we can gather so far, Bandit's a little bit of a petulant child. It's not exactly the direction I wanted him to face, so we'll face him down the road a little bit more. The reason we're having to boost on these attacks is because they're in melee with our guys. And when you're in melee, it gives you stacking penalties, all that sort of thing. Alright, Lancer. We're going to get you to beat down this Winter Guard as best we can. Now, his lance does have some reach ability to it, but it is not as good, shall we say, as you'd expect. Alright, and with that Winter Guard out of the picture, there isn't any cover on that street. Don't really want to run our trenchers out into the line of combat if we can avoid it. We'll get you to face out towards the road. Allison, I'm going to have you run over behind Bandit. Make sure you're facing the direction I want. There we go. And we will have these two trenchers come up and support you both. That's not where I wanted to put them, but okay, that works too. And this trencher, oh, you can use the Lancer as cover. Let's see what the Khadorans aren't going to do anything. Again, these first few missions are supposed to be kind of an introduction to the game and not push it too hard. Oh, great! Iron Fang in front and Iron Fang behind.
We're being flanked, ma'am. Iron Fangs!
Sergeant, you and your men hold off those Winter Guard. I'll handle the pikemen.
Alright, well that was kind of surprising. But in reality, we don't want Allison to be taking care of the Iron Fangs. We want our trenchers to help with the Iron Fangs. I don't really want to put our Lancer out in harm's way just yet. They don't really have any ranged weapons, so it's not too big a deal. Now, do trenchers have smoke bombs? They do. Concealment makes it harder for you to hit. Well, no, duh, Dre. Come on. It's not that big of a concept here. I don't think this trencher is going to be able to get in on the shooting this turn. So let's just stack him up and get ready. Since he's not going to be able to get in on it either, we'll just stack him up and get ready. But these trenchers should be able to get in on the fighting. So with the two Iron Fangs behind us, that's kind of the worrying thing. Our regular infantry can't do much against the Iron Fangs. Well, they can, but it's not easy on them. Let's queue up a combined ranged attack. And same thing with this trencher. I don't even know which one the Sarge is, because I think he's actually named differently. And the combined ranged attack missed. Alright, Allison. We're actually not going to boost it. I want you to have the defense in case they go right after you. And the Iron Fang pikeman missed. Looks like it's going to be a melee showdown in the streets here. Thankfully, one of our guys just has to turn around. And then can start slamming on an Iron Fang pikeman. Can you actually get a charge attack off? You can't. So instead, let's move you... Actually, let's deal with Allison first. It's all of Allisson's attacks. There's a bayonet strike. Not for a whole lot of damage, but enough. That's not the way I wanted you to face, but okay. Now we can get you to take a swing at him, too. Iron Fang pikemen have a lot of health. Everything in Khador has a lot of health, but they kind of lack the special abilities of the other nations. They're just the big, tough guys. That takes Allisson out of combat and thus partially out of danger. Oops. The key combinations in this are a little wonky sometimes. So we're going to turn Bandit. Come on, Bandit. It's just a Winter Guard. Smoke him. That's pretty much all you can do. That's going to allow us to set up... We do have some rifle grenades. Well, let's just use some regular attacks for right now. I don't care if we lose a few trenchers. They're gravediggers after all, so they can handle what they're doing. Oh, go Bandit, you're dancing! So the first thing we're going to do... We're going to bump this guy over here. We're going to toss a smoke bomb down at his feet, well, general area. Move the other guy into the smoke. Should lower their armor, which in theory should let us do some funny stuff with our Lancer next turn. As for the rest of the Gravediggers, see if we can get in and take some pot shots. Can't do anything with this guy. So we'll just run him up behind the charger too. Come on, let me go where I want to go. There we go. Make sure you're facing the right way. And then... Not bad, a critical on that, Allisson. Okay, so he's engaged because he's within their melee range. So I can't shoot with Bandit right now. That doesn't mean I can't get closer. Finish off that Iron Fang. And try to wallop on the other one. So that's only one blast pike that we have to deal with on the next turn. Blast pikes have a chance to knock down anything they hit, so... Knockdown costs a focus for a Warjack to stand up. It's just annoying. We're going to keep splitting our focus for right now. Let's run our Lancer up. And get him to do Lancery style stuff. Mostly stab you with a spear and smash you with a shield. There's a mercenary light warjack. It's called a Vanguard, I think? It's very similar to a Lancer, but instead of having a... I don't know if you'd call it... No, I shouldn't probably think along those lines. It's got a gun in its shield. It doesn't have a shock in its shield. It has a gun in its shield. Oh, no, we don't want to take a free strike. I literally wanted to get close enough to melee attack this guy. Not take a free strike. That's essentially what I wanted to do, to get Bandit out of engagement. So, we can move Bandit right here. And let him do Bandit-y type stuff. Don't really want to expose Allisson too much. This week's episode might go on a little bit longer, guys, because I want to get these first few missions down at the very least. Or, can we save? Yes, we can. The menu in here is kind of screwed up. We're going to do another couple of turns at the very least, though. Let's get this trencher over on the other side of Bandit. It's not a whole mess of damage, but might be enough to discourage this Khadoran. And I don't want to block our Lancer from advancing next turn, so I'm just going to run these other trenchers up behind. Lancer still can't get a melee strike off, but he can set up to go around this corner towards those Winter Guard. So technically speaking, this would land him out of control range, and on his next turn he wouldn't be able to do anything. But that's not the general idea here. He's out of control range right now, but he's not going to be out of control range forever. Since El Bandito decided to take care of that Winter Guard for us, we can move Allisson back over. That puts him back into control range, so we can apply our focus to him at the start of the turn. Get the rest of these trenchers up. I'm actually surprised we haven't lost a trencher yet. It's a trencher grenadier. It's a normal trencher. But you know, guys, that's probably a good place to end it for this week. We'll carry on with the story in the Iron Kingdoms next time. So if you like the video, guys, please consider hitting that like button. If you'd like to join up with the 232, be part of our community, just hit that subscribe button and make sure you turn your notifications on so you don't miss when a new video goes out. But remember, guys, life is a game, so play to win. And until next time, take care.